Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Jabroni Drive. On this week's episode, the tribute to the troops, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman's coming back, Damien Priest, Drew McIntyre, Charlotte's injured, Green Brothers, Miz Gunther, and Bellows in the tournament. Will this be the best episode of Jabroni Drive? I think so. Timmy, anything you want to say to all the Schmidt-Lavellites out there?
Tom, just that when you listen to Jabroni Drive, that means you're a jabroni for life. And it's just too sweet.
I love it. Timmy, I actually love that. When you're a jabroni for life. And we appreciate all of you out there. First and foremost, thank you so much for listening. When you're a jabroni for life. Remember that. We love you. Thank you for following. If you're not already doing it, now's the time. Hit that follow. Hit that subscribe. Give us a share. Tell people about us. Please leave a comment. Just say, for life in the comments if you're hearing it, if you're listening, if you're liking what we're doing. We love you. We're trying to grow the show. New things every week. We're covering it all, WWE. Let's dive right into it. Timmy, first things first, Smackdown, the tribute to the troops. I love it. I know me and you are both, we love the patriotic stuff, and we love our troops, and I think this is a great tradition for WWE. They got to honor those and put on a show for all those troops. They honored the veterans that are WWE wrestlers, Bobby Lashley, Montez Ford, out there displaying their athleticism and what they offer. And just the crowd is great. They're hot. I love this event. I know you love it. Anything you want to say about the tribute to the troops?
No, I mean, the WWE has done it for years and years and years, just with, their support, and they always do something with the troops and whether it be something here or whether they're going overseas and putting on shows over there for the troops, they do that too as well. They've always been a big supporter of the armed forces, and it's cool to see. The crowd, as you say, was nuts, and it comes in conjunction at the same time with the Army-Navy game over the weekend. They brought Brad Nessler, who does the commentary on the Army-Navy game too, into the booth, if you will, for the Bobby Lashley match, which was really cool.
That was cool.
So you got a different perspective on it too as well. And then, like you said, it's a time for these guys, the troops that are home, to be able to, I'm sure their tickets were probably all paid for, and it was probably a free show for them, that they were able to just sit back, relax, be entertained. If you are a wrestling fan, if you're not a wrestling fan, it doesn't matter. But I know that a lot of the wrestlers, it's near and dear to their hearts to be able to go out and for a few minutes, put their mind at ease, or to entertain those individuals that put their lives, on the line every day for, as John Cena said, for providing freedom for us to do what we do in this country. It's the least that they can do to show their support to the troops and the armed forces. So really cool that, and it just, like, honestly, it was a cool weekend too with the Army-Navy game, all that stuff, because it was all done in New England this past weekend. And I think the show was done in Providence, maybe. Yep. So all that stuff was really close together, and it was closely knit, and
great job.
Man, what a show. And they came out and they did the honor guard too as well.
And the national anthem too, or what? It wasn't the national anthem. God bless America. Like, it was just incredible. And we just said it, and I'm just going to repeat what you're saying, Tim. Great job by the WWE. Really cool. We love the troops, and for them to get a show of appreciation and to be entertained is just awesome, and they deserve it. And it was awesome. And the USA chants and everything, so cool. Well done, WWE, every year. And what a great tradition. And like you were saying, Timmy, what a great show. And we're going to jump right into it. They got one of the best promos you're going to see. I mean, this is what this guy's known for, CM Punk. He is the promo guy on the mic. He's one of the best to ever do it. Let's give a listen real quick to some of the things he had to say.
So allow me to turn this up to 11. Allow me to be that spicy CM Punk you all know and love. Allow me to get comfortable at home. This is me putting my feet up on the couch, and my feet got a lot of mud all over them, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not, what do y'all want to talk about? It's, who do you want me to talk about?
Awfully spicy indeed, Timmy. We're going to come to another clip from that in a little bit, but great promo. He comes out, mic drop and all. Why don't you get into some of the things that you loved about his promo? And this is, you're starting to see what Punk has to offer on the microphone. We had talked about him last week. Like you're really getting to see what he can offer as far as bringing eyes to the product. And I think this is where you're going with this, what he can do for the WWE. So maybe talk about the promo itself and your thoughts on CM Punk in the biz.
Yeah, just as a reminder to the listeners, is a guy that, I don't know if anyone else is in the same predicament as me, but I never watched CM Punk wrestle. And all I've seen so far is him cutting promos so far, right? That's it. That's the only thing that I've seen and heard. And he is dynamic with a microphone in his hand. And the reaction that he gets from the crowd, I see it, everyone sees it. I mean, obviously there's a demand for this guy. He's one of the hottest stars in the business. And whether that be because of controversy or because, he was at some point an excellent wrestler, and maybe he still is. I don't know. I have yet to see him wrestle in a WWE ring.
And if I could just talk on that real quick, Timmy, I'm going to send it right back to you. His thing and the controversy is his ability to blur the lines. We don't know. Is this real? Is this real controversy? Like it comes off as real, and he does a great job of that. And I'll give him some credit on that. And I'm not going to give him much more, but you know how I am. Back to you, Timmy. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So what I see from an outsider's perspective is a man that has that as much cachet that he does, that is just such an interchangeable part within this industry. You just heard the first part of his promo, and then he goes on during that promo to list 8 to 10 of the wrestlers that are in need, that are a draw right now. He talks about Cody Rhodes. He talks about Roman Reigns. He talks about the Bloodline, main event Jey Uso. Then he gets into Kevin Owens. He talks about that guy, right? And then he talks about a little bit of Seth Rollins. And it's these storylines that start popping in my head as he's doing this promo. And I'm like, I can see this happening. Like I can see, him versus that guy. I can see him versus that guy. And he's like a Swiss Army knife. You can go anywhere with this guy, and they keep on doing it behind the scenes too as well. So after he cuts the promo, he goes in the back and then he bumps into Kevin Owens as he's standing outside the Bloodline locker room. And it's like, man, the endless possibilities with CM Punk, if he is the guy that you're getting, that's going to be the A+ worker. Is he going to be the guy that blurs the lines? Is he going to be the guy that stays in line and continues to be that locker room guy that we're starting to see and hear that he's been really accessible and that he's been nothing but supportive since he's been at WWE? It's been 2 weeks, right? Or 3 weeks. Let it manifest a little bit. If something doesn't go his way, how is he going to react, right? Like, so the possibilities are endless. It's just a matter of like how they're developed. And, we all want to see certain matchups with CM Punk. I think the number one is the Seth Rollins thing because he has the most heat with him. And then you talked about it a second ago about the blurred lines. Like, is that real or is that just CM Punk being CM Punk? Is that Rollins just being Rollins, right? But there is that outside, like that little shadow of a doubt, like, man, this seems like a real kind of beef that we could really portray on such a bigger scale and make it look realer than it actually is, So I thought that was one of the best promos that I've seen to date since I've been back. It was cutthroat. It was edgy. He got
great rhythm to it.
Yeah.
He was feeling the crowd. He was moving to me. I agree. And there's no doubt he's great on the mic and blurring those lines. And like you're saying too, and this is kind of where I was last week, and we predicted this. First of all, one thing we said is that he's the straw that stirs and drink. He can go anywhere. And that's part of the reason where I'm leaning towards there's so much you can do. We can't do it all at once. Do we want to give him Seth right away or Roman or KO or Lesnar or whomever? It could be anyone. And whoever Punk is with right now is the biggest ticket in town at the moment. And we were saying he could go with anyone. We also said that there was going to be a storyline in this week when Randy Orton signed. We're going to be moving on. Where is CM Punk going to sign? We could see him here. We could see him there. We said maybe SmackDown, maybe NXT, maybe Raw. And that's what they get into. And they did that. And we were right on that. So let's cut to the end of that promo where he says something pretty interesting.
Everybody's welcomed me back with open arms. Except for that one guy. There's always that one bad apple that spoils the bunch, am I right? But I'm not going to put any stock in anything he has to say, and it's not because of his whiny voice. It's because he's not even the man in his own household.
I mean, that is classic CM Punk. He hits him with the dagger in two ways, the whiny voice, and then goes to the not even the man in his own household to kind of cap off a great promo. And like you were saying, one of the best of the year so far. He knows what he's doing. I guess my question is, this is leading towards Seth Rollins. Everything seems to be Seth Rollins and him. And do you think that's the right decision? Like you're saying, he can go with anyone right now. He's coming off of this major issue with the company, an issue with another company that he was released from, the UFC thing, whatever, all this other stuff. Are you seeing him in a title match with Seth Rollins? I know, like, this isn't a prediction, but like, where do we think is the best thing to do with CM Punk? Is it Seth Rollins right out the gate, the one that everybody really wants? And it seems to be that way because Seth Rollins, they were told before they went out at Survivor Series War Games, hey, we signed CM Punk, and they probably told Seth to react the way that he did, if this was the case, because we're setting up that storyline. So it seems to be is that the right call? Is there a bad call?
Well, no, yeah. Like, again, we're talking, this is a business, Tom, and the right call is the one that's going to make you the most money. And Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes made you a ton of money at WrestleMania 39. I can imagine that same matchup and a Seth Rollins CM Punk, night one, headliner would probably double whatever, that merchandise, all that stuff that gate that came in from WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 40 might absolutely demolish it, which is, it's already set records already in terms of ticket sales. So, I think whatever it is you need to do to make that WrestleMania card the best that it can be is what they're going to do. So Seth Rollins, CM Punk, I think it's perfect timing. I think it's the perfect storm. It's going to suck for guys that are trying to climb that ladder when you have a CM Punk just enter the fray, and he hasn't been here for quite some time, and everyone knows his story, and for him to be kind of vaulted into that position, would probably rub people the wrong way, such as Drew McIntyre, possibly LA Knight, who's on a meteoric rise and still has that same cachet that he's had over the course of the last 6 months. It hasn't dissipated at all. Main event Jey Uso, like all these guys that really are vying for gold are probably going to get pushed aside. Now, does that mean that they're not going to have a major role in WrestleMania 40? No. These guys are going to be in some type of excellent match. I don't know what it's going to be, but we're starting to see some of those storylines develop right now. And to be honest, the Drew McIntyre saga is probably the best thing going right now.
Yeah, me and you have talked about Drew McIntyre at length on the show because he deserves all the praise in the world. I mean, this guy is right at the top of the greatest wrestlers in the world right now. I mean, in this company alone, you've got Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Seth Rollins, CM Punk now in here. LA Knight is got the character. In ring, he's very good, but we haven't seen that classic from him yet. But I would say right now at the top of the company, Roman, Gunther, Drew, Seth. Those are the top 4 guys in the company right now that are just popping into my mind. And Cody. Oh my God. Those are the top 5 right there, right? Is there anyone else? I know Jay is right there. Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens right there. Brock Lesnar could be right there, but like these guys are just like they're next level. And so Drew McIntyre is right at the top of that list with what the time he's put in, the story he's been telling. And so I guess that's my question. Where does this leave Drew McIntyre? This guy is looking for his redemption and his WrestleMania moment that was taken away from him because of COVID. And now you have him on this arc, on this storyline, which seems to be leading to him and Seth at WrestleMania. And then curveball, hold on a second. Here comes Punk. Now Punk versus Seth seems to be the story moving forward. Where do you think where's Drew McIntyre going to shake out in all this? Who is he going to be going against? Is it going to be Bloodline or Judgment Day?
The one thing I did think when CM Punk comes on board is that they should make him work for it. And I said, look, we talked about, when is his match going to be? And I think the HJB said like not until Royal Rumble. It just came out that he's going to wrestle on day 1. He's going to wrestle Dom Mysterio. So that's obviously before that. And I think that they need to continue to make him work for it. Like they can't just hand him WrestleMania on a silver platter. Like, hey, you did us dirty. There's a lot of shit being talked. Yeah, you're back, but there has to be that caveat, but you're going to work for everything that you get here. Like, you're not just going to walk in. This isn't AEW where, hey, you walk in, you're automatically the guy, right? And to your point, like you're asking me, is that the best storyline for CM Punk or for Seth Rollins? I don't know. It's probably the one that's going to make the most money, but I mean, they could go in a different direction, right? Where, like, if CM Punk, I don't think he wins the Rumble. I really don't think he does that. I don't think they give that to him again, just because of just his past and what he's done to the WWE. I don't think they reward him with the Royal Rumble.
And they shouldn't. They shouldn't reward him, in my opinion. But Timmy, he's the biggest draw out there right now.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah, no, like yeah, you're just saying the same things I just said. It's
Right.
just I don't know if they go that route. I'm just thinking of the other possibilities that could happen because look, you're talking about WrestleMania, right? There's 2 nights. There's obviously only 4 wrestlers that can headline WrestleMania, right? It's the guy that holds the belt and the guy that's challenging him both nights. So, it used to only be 2 guys, right? And that was it. So they expanded it now. So you do have an opportunity to get into that match. And if so, you got to showcase it and you got to put on one of your best shows that you've ever done. But um, we think that the one is already going to be Cody and Roman. Obviously there was chatter about The Rock coming back for WrestleMania 40, but like again, I don't think that's going to come into fruition. It is ultimately we're going to find out in the next 3 to 4 months what's going to happen with that world heavyweight title and Seth Rollins, right?
Right.
Maybe Seth loses it, beforehand, and it's just a Seth versus CM Punk, just rivalry match type deal, set up where
Right. That's what I was going to suggest, Tim. Maybe you have Drew McIntyre beat Seth Rollins at day 1 to win the title. You have the whole turn with Damien Priest and kicking him out of the Judgment Day at that point. Then Seth enters the Royal Rumble. Punk and Seth eliminate each other at the Royal Rumble, furthering their feud and setting up their match at WrestleMania. And maybe you have a Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble and he challenges Drew McIntyre for the championship.
Yeah, something along those lines. I mean, I can see it being more of like a grudge match type WrestleMania, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Like it's a no holds barred, possibly like a cage match type scenario where it's like they're just gonna beat the shit out of each other and let the dust settle. Whoever wins, 2 out of
Hell in
3
a Cell
falls, something
cage
like
match.
that.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, if you want it to be vendetta type shit, like because that's the storyline that's being built. It's like I hate you, you hate me, you talk shit on me, I talk shit on you. Um, you're not welcomed here. It feels like that type of storyline. Well, you better have a match that suits that type of storyline too, as well. So, again, we're all speculating here. We're not going to know, but it's going to be fun to watch it develop. And I think by Rumble, we'll have an idea of what that's going to look like.
I wonder if this is the ultimate grudge match, what could be the stipulation? I would love the one that popped in my head, and it hasn't been done in WWE in a while. They've done it in AEW, a dog collar match. Very dangerous match. The guys are connected by a dog collar, and it's something that, it's really a hatred. It's a culmination. It's a vicious match, and maybe something perfect that I haven't seen that in WWE. They could also do Hell in a Cell, obviously, and some other things. All right, well, let's get to the promos on Raw real quick between CM Punk. So CM Punk also, Timmy, like you were saying, he's someone that can be anywhere. He was on SmackDown, then he went to NXT, and Shawn Michaels was talking to him about joining NXT. Then he went to Raw, and he was cutting his promos, and here's what he had to say.
So if you're here now, if you're watching at home, and you're disappointed that CM Punk walked out, I understand, and hell, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize.
That was a cool moment, him apologizing for having walked out on that crowd 10 years ago, almost to the day.
Congratulations, Adam Pearce. The newest Raw superstar is named CM Punk. And CM Punk is home.
Timmy, we talked about him possibly signing with Raw. He makes his decision. Big moment on Raw. Another nice promo and come out and everything like that. The crowd, we talked about the crowd that night. And I thought they were a little bit flat. You were saying that, right? That you thought they were flat?
Yeah, no, I didn't really feel, and it could be just coming off of what we saw on Friday with salute to service and the troops and all that stuff. So
And it
I
had
mean,
been a long weekend, and then we had the
Mm.
Eagles, and then you know what I mean. Maybe we were just kind of like,
yeah, it just didn't feel like it. Look, as much as I love what CM Punk's doing, and I think it's a responsibility that the WWE is done with CM Punk by rolling him out as much as they possibly can to get him in front of the audience and to get him views, because look, he's as hot as they can get right now, right? Like, it just, I don't know if him being as available has taken some of the luster away from seeing him and hearing him talk, right? It's like, all right, we're gonna hear another promo about if you're going to join this or join that. And then he's talking about, WWE being his home. And you're like, all right, it's almost kind of like redundant a little bit. He does mention somebody, and I'm not taking this in a different direction. I just want to just mention, dude, like Adam Pearce, we talk about him a lot. I bring him up a bunch because
right.
I think it's just cool to see someone that's like a mainstay. Like this dude has been like, he kind of controls everything. And it's cool to see that, like, it's not like a Vicky Guerrero or, like I
Right.
think I talked about this before. Just like, it's not a clown show. And it's like, it seems like he actually has control, and he's actually built like a brick shithouse too, dude, man. He is shredded.
You know what? That's an interesting point, because you bring it up, and it's just not some like stooge. It's
Yeah.
like he's taken this job as the GM seriously, and I would even say Aldis is also like, they at least have guys in the GM spots now that are playing the roles correctly. Where before it was like some stooge or some guy that like, people like Vicky Guerrero that they let, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was, or someone that's just trying to get a catchphrase going or whatever. Like they do a great job. So CM Punk says he's going to sign with Raw. That was the big question. Where is he going to sign? And then as he's signing, Seth Rollins' music hits. Out comes Seth Rollins, and they have a stare down. Timmy, I loved the stare down. I know we thought the crowd wasn't as hot as I don't think they should have been, but I was up out of my seat. I was watching this, and I was pacing a little bit interested. I'm going to play two clips from Seth's promo, and then let's get into that.
I know I'm a bit worked up. I want everybody to understand I'm going to say it plainly with every fiber in my being. I hate you.
There's that, and then the big one.
You abandoned this place 10 years ago. Not only did you abandon it, but you actively tried to tear it down. You spent 10 years slandering me, slandering every single person back in that locker room, and then you want to walk back in here and call this place your home? This is not your home. This is my home.
Really cool promo. And to me, what I loved about the whole promo was, and maybe this is why we thought the crowd wasn't hot, it was almost like they didn't know what to do. We love Seth Rollins. We love CM Punk. Like, we're fans of both of these guys. Where do our loyalties lie? And that's like a really interesting thing to play out here, because it's very easy to go to a show and chant CM Punk. It's popular. It's a cool chant, whatever. But they were singing Seth's song, and it was the back and forth. And where are we going with this? And Seth, what he said was perfect. It was not too much, but just, it was the truth. He left. He tried to tear the whole place down. He slandered Seth. He slandered everyone in the locker room. And I wonder if they had him say, "I'm home," to set up Seth's thing, or Seth saw that. There was no producer for this segment. So maybe he heard that and he said, you know what? I'm sick of this. The style that Seth came out with, there was no Joker type thing. There was no laugh. It was very serious. This is some of the stuff that I saw Seth Rollins do when he was young in his career. And what I was really like, wow, this guy has it. And I think he gave enough to go and still has a bunch of stuff in the holster ready to fire at him, at CM Punk. This seems to be the direction they're headed. Man, it's going to be a fun ride. What did you think of Seth's promo? Now, on the internet, it seems like he was getting a lot of love, a lot of praise for this promo. Timmy, you thought, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe a little flat. Was it the crowd, or did you think Seth was not enough?
No, I thought like Seth usually cuts great promos. And I just didn't feel it. Like, I didn't feel like he matched CM Punk's energy from the previous promo, right? Like, look, I know he came out and he talked a little bit about, like, CM Punk came out and talked a little bit about Rollins and all that stuff. But like, I thought like the promo from Friday Night SmackDown was really cutthroat. Even the line when he said, like, he's not even the man in his own relationship, right? Like, Seth didn't address any of that. He just let that fly. And it felt like, look, as man to man, you're attacking my relationship, my wife, like, you're going in that direction. Like, I expected something more personal. Not more like I'm defending the WWE, like I'm defending the locker room. Like, Seth doesn't seem like that guy, right? Like, he doesn't come across as the Cody Rhodes, the protector of the emblem, right? The protector of Raw. And it just felt like the wrong way to go with it, in my opinion.
No,
and
I can see that.
It just did feel like the crowd wasn't behind him a little bit too. It just felt like, yeah, there wasn't really a ton of interest in it, in the way he was going with it. I mean, he got some reaction, but it just felt a little flat to me. Maybe you're right. Maybe he just wanted to hold on to some of those bullets until a little bit later, because this is going to develop into something obviously bigger.
Well, I think the crowd might be a little flat, like we were saying, because they don't know who they want to cheer for. Are we behind CM Punk, or are we behind Seth? CM Punk's a big pop and everybody wants to see him, but Seth has been the guy. Like, are we cheering for this and that? And I think there's a little bit of a, they don't know what to do. And I think Seth is in a very tough situation. This is why I think the promo's so good, because he was in a tough situation because he could come off as a complainer. You know what I mean? If he immediately starts going towards Punk about the stuff he said about Becky in his relationship or whatever, then it's like, well, it's almost like he would be falling for Punk's trap and looking past the 10 years of, yo, dude, let's not forget all the shit that you did, all the stuff you said about me and everyone back there and the people in charge of this whole place that you came crawling back to. So I think he knows, he's calculated. I'm sure he is talking to the best in the biz. I mean, I'm imagining him and Hunter are talking about this, and all the writers about where he wants to go and when he wants to lay his own pipe bombs on CM Punk. And it's the beginning, and I just can't wait for the rest of it.
Yeah, it's going to unfold pretty, over the course of these couple weeks here. It's only going to get better. Like, you have two professionals like this who can really just cut a promo any minute, any drop of the hat. Like, dude, yeah, they can have them both cut a promo on any subject matter, and I'm sure it would be riveting. So I'm not worried about it. I just felt like, the initial, like, how he dissected LA Knight's promos, right? Like, we really kind of dove into initially, like, how is he going to come across? He's going up with Paul Heyman, and he's going up with the Miz, right? And we judged him on that stuff. So like this is really kind of like round one, right? This is what we're seeing. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not saying it's like the worst thing in the world. Like it's going to
No, I
get
know.
way better in the world. It's going to get way better as it goes.
Do you see what I'm saying? Where he kind of had like he is in a tough spot because CM Punk is a fan favorite right now. You know what I mean? Like that's tough because he can come off almost like when Bret Hart was mad at Stone Cold and people were just calling him a big complainer, and it kind of turned Hart's character.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I also see the dynamic in what you're saying about like, hey, there's two guys that are right now just beloved by the WWE universe, which there's a lot of that dynamic back in the
golden era with
in the Attitude Era with like
yeah.
Stone Cold and The Rock and those guys. Like, there was people that loved both those guys, and that dynamic between those wrestlers in the ring. And I mean, one of your favorite matches you always talk about is the Rock and Hogan, right? At WrestleMania, what was that? 9
in Toronto. I forget the year.
Whatever WrestleMania that was.
Yeah.
And the Rock, I think Hogan came out and tried to play the heel role, and just
they weren't doing it, and he pivoted and he knew what to do. Yeah, you're right. And so that's where I think Seth realizes, if I do this or that, the crowd might start turning on me, and then the roles that we're supposed to have aren't going to play out how we're supposed to play out. And Seth called him out for a couple things about, we'll see if by some miracle you've changed or you're going to be the same old stuff, and that how he's going to work him in the ring and how there's different levels to this stuff. I mean, he put the threats out there like, yo, when we get in the ring, I'm going to do my thing. I hope you can keep up, basically. And, we can't say enough about this feud. It can be it can turn into one of the all-time feuds in the history of the WWE.
I just wish it was more, again, like the viciousness could be so incredible. If this is like during like the Attitude Era, where there's like chair shots and just, color and just absolute mayhem, where, I would love to see backstage, cars get involved, where someone gets run down by a car. Like that's the old school WWE stuff that I used to love. Like all the bullshit behind the scenes. Yeah, someone gets beat up and it's not like they're out for 7 months. They get beat up or whatever. They come back the next week and they chase them down. But it could be really special. Like you said, this dynamic with these two guys.
And I think you have a great point there, Timmy. I think when this match does eventually happen, I know it doesn't happen very often in WWE. I think color could go a long way in this match in making it and telling that story. You don't see it often, but this is such a feud with so much animosity between these two guys that if they were busted open or one of them was busted open, I think it would add a lot to the characters and their legacies in the WWE. So I hope that it's going to be something vicious and they let it all play out like that and really lay it in. All right, let's move on. Let's talk on Charlotte Flair real quick. Looks like she was injured this past week going in a match against Asuka. I'm afraid that this might hurt her run. It seems like they were pushing her for WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble, obviously, and where her storyline is going to go. We need to get more details on this injury. Timmy, you saw the fall that was we got that video from social media. It wasn't on. It was during a commercial break. Rough fall. I don't know if you could say it's one person or the other's fault, but afterwards you could see her visibly hurt. She's mouthing to the ref, my knee. Oh my gosh, my knee. They help her out of the ring. Anything that I'm missing on this, Tim? I know we need more updates on her injury, and hopefully they give it to us this week, but this could be a huge loss for WWE.
Yeah, no, it sucked. It's a shame. You never want to put blame. Like, look, you talk about this, in our conversation a little, excuse me, earlier in the week, that there's two people in the ring, right? And we've seen injuries since we've started the show before, and some of them just happen, man. It's just, yeah, these are two athletes that, are trying to do unbelievable things in the ring. And they do occur. And for you to put blame on somebody, it's not really, it's probably not the route you should go. Because there's, it's choreographed, right? But there's still so much risk involved in the thing that they do. Um, so yeah, Charlotte gets hurt. To put blame on Asuka, that's not fair to her. I'm sure she was trying to be as safe as possible with that move, and it just seemed to kind of go awry. I saw an interview with a guy that we like to quote. It was Chris Van Vliet or Van Vliet or
Van
what's his
Vliet.
name?
Van Vliet.
And he was talking to Jericho about that, and Jericho said the one thing that he hates most about wrestling know-it-alls is that when they call out a botch and they say, oh, that was a botch or whatever, and I think he compared it to, he's like, look, Wayne Gretzky is skating on a breakaway and he doesn't get the shot off and it doesn't get on net. He goes, did he botch that shot? Like, it's not how it works. Like, you want to be 100% successful on everything that you do in the ring, but it just doesn't turn out that way. Sometimes it goes awry and you have to make adjustments in the ring. But he's like, I hate that word, that botch. So I just keep that in mind. When these two, he's like, wrestlers are out there without nets and without like security brace. They're just doing shit to try to entertain. And sometimes that stuff can happen. So
Yeah, it's a great point. And you know
hopefully
what? The best wrestlers too, Tim, are the guys that when something doesn't go the 100% way they planned, they can pivot and make it work to another way. You keep moving, you keep pivoting and stuff like that. And I really feel like sometimes these wrestlers plan these moments to where it looks like a quote unquote botch, but it tells the story in the ring. Oh man, they weren't supposed to do that, and blurring those lines like we were talking about with Punk's promo and stuff like that. For Chris Jericho, maybe we all do him a favor and we eliminate that botch thing and just try to enjoy and remember, hey, these guys are on the tightrope with no net, and they're doing their best, and they're the best in the world at it. So hopefully Charlotte Flair isn't injured too much. Speedy recovery if she is. Come back and hopefully ready to go for the Rumble and the road to WrestleMania. Let's get to SmackDown this week. Roman Reigns back this week. Timmy, what are you expecting from Roman Reigns' return this week? Several things they could touch on. You could have Paul Heyman comment on CM Punk and him calling out Roman Reigns and mentioning his name in his promo last week. You could have LA Knight come out and continue his feud with Roman Reigns. You could have Randy Orton come out and talk about how he has beef with Roman Reigns. A lot of things, interesting stuff to talk about. What do you think is going to happen maybe, or what are you looking forward to in seeing Roman Reigns back on TV? Because this is the first time we've seen him since Crown Jewel, I think.
Well, I expect him to show up if that's the case. That'd be great. That's a start.
Let me ask you real quick. Do you think there's real animosity in the locker room between some of the wrestlers about Roman's schedule and how he's been missing for 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. If it was me, I'd be pissed. But he's supposed to be the franchise of the WWE. He's the guy that has the belt and barely defends it and barely shows up on television. If it was me, and I'm a wrestler, in that, look, you take care of your own business, number one, but number two, like if that Roman Reigns is a face of the company, and as often as he shows up, the more money everyone else makes, right? Like if the business is hot, business is booming, it works in everyone's favor. So for him not to be available and not to show up, I think it kind of damages the brand a little bit. So whenever he shows up, I think it's a benefit to everyone else. I'd be pissed if I was in the locker room. So maybe there is. I don't know. And then to answer your second question, I mean, I do not see anything happening with CM Punk and Roman Reigns because, as we all know, CM Punk is now
On Raw. We'll
a
never see him on
Raw.
SmackDown again
Yeah, he
or
is.
any other brand.
So there's no shot in hell that CM Punk ever shows up on SmackDown
No
ever.
chance.
As Chris Jericho made famous, we will never see him on SmackDown ever again.
Ever again. So do you think, but I could see Paul Heyman taking a little jab on the mic at CM Punk. I mean, they're boys. He likes to go back and forth, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I mean look, I'm totally joking.
No, I know, but I would like to see that Paul Heyman take a shot.
It's so again, there's just so many routes you can go with CM Punk. I don't want it to get so just redundant and everyone get wrapped up in it, right? He's the new toy, right? Like let's just throw CM Punk in this segment again, right? So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I expect him to address, CM Punk's arrival because he should. That's what he's responsible for, I think, as the champ. If he sees the threat, he needs to address it. Because there's nothing else that Roman Reigns is involved in right now, right? Like there's besides Randy Orton, they can go in that direction. But I think those two routes are probably the easiest way to go with Roman Reigns right now.
Randy Orton, LA Knight, possibly. Maybe we get a little bit of a build to the storyline, hopefully, for the Royal Rumble. All right. Timmy, this past week on Monday Night Raw, we saw Miz with DIY going against Gunther and Imperium. I think this was the match of the night. I really enjoyed this match. These guys do a great job. They show out each week. Miz has done an incredible job on his yet again another resurgence, another new era of his career. And after the match, he confronts Gunther and challenges him to a match, which has been announced that they will be fighting each other. I think it's on day one, at the day one event. What do you think of this? We had forgotten them, and to give them their flowers on the Survivor Series War Games. We talked about it a week later. Yet again, they put on another great match. Miz comes away with the win. He's now getting a rematch against Gunther. Is this going to be the time when Gunther loses his title?
I mean, someone's got to lose their title at some point. It's just ridiculous that no one's lost their title. The only thing that's exchanging hands now, I mean, the U.S. title's on Logan Paul, and you would expect that he's probably going to hold on to that for an extended period of time now. So, something has to give here. Like there has to be something new, something fresh. Not sure if that's the Miz or not. We talked about Gable before. We love that whole route. It seems like he's been buried now. But I can't see the Miz winning this one. I really want to see someone significant take it off of Gunther, and maybe that's the route that they go with Drew. I don't know. I really don't know exactly where they go because Gunther's just been such a great champion. But I will reiterate this until I'm blue in the face. The dude needs to get off of the Intercontinental title now. He's got the record. Let's move on from it. Like the whole Imperium thing is really driving me nuts too as well. Like there's obviously they're trying to build some chaos within that faction, and it's not going anywhere. It's like they continue to lose and lose and lose and nothing happens. And it's like, at this point, it's like, I'm not buying the whole excellence thing in the ring, like the standard, that whole process. Like it has no effect on me anymore. So it's like, either get rid of them or get 2 new stooges, bring in 2 new guys, and get rid of whatever that is that they're doing with Imperium. But the Intercontinental title is in good hands with Gunther. You can probably let him hold on to it until Rumble, and maybe have him in a match at Rumble. Maybe he loses the Intercontinental title and then wins the Rumble.
Yeah, because he's another one that's at the favorites to win the Rumble. It's, CM Punk, Gunther, Cody. I guess those would be your LA Knight. Those would be your top 4 guesses to win the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah, I
Can't think of anyone else right now.
I'm sure Lesnar's going to be
Lesnar's in there.
Yeah.
So, I would say that I'm really looking forward to this match. I don't think Miz is the guy to take the belt off of him. But if it does end up being Miz, I don't hate that. I just don't see who he then loses it to. You know what I mean? Where they would go after that. So I still would like it to be a young star that they're trying to bring up. And speaking of young stars that they're bringing up, it was announced this week that the NXT member that is going to be in the United States Championship tournament will be none other than Carmello Hayes. Mello never misses. Mr. Carmello Hayes, one of the best young superstars in NXT. And quick shout out to NXT. Their product has really gone up. Like, it's something. There's so much for us to watch, and we watch a lot, and it's impossible to watch every single thing with a full-time job and kids and all that other stuff. But Carmello Hayes, Trick Williams, Braun Breaker, even a guy like Baron Corbin has stepped it up, and the women's division in NXT is great. So big shout out to NXT and the product they've been putting out week in and week out, almost as good as Jabroni Drive. Tim, Carmello Hayes in the United States Championship tournament. Do you expect him to make some noise? Is he going to be going? Is it possible he wins this tournament? We've got guys like Kevin Owens and Bobby Lashley and Theory and Waller, and who's going to win this tournament?
Well, I expect Kevin Owens to win this tournament. I expect him and Hayes to wrestle against each other. I think that'll be an excellent match with Kevin Owens. I know there's no like history there or anything like that, but it would be a fun match. I think they're in the same bracket, right?
They are. They're on the same side of the bracket. If they both won this week, they'd face each other. So I guess it's Mello versus Theory. Or wait, no, Mello versus Waller and Theory versus Owens.
Yeah, so I expect Mello to beat Waller. Or maybe, Theories with Waller, so I can see him also interjecting himself in the match too. But I think Kevin Owens wins this tournament. I'll tell you what, the Santos Escobar, his character development's been a lot better lately too. I'm starting to buy him as a heel.
Okay.
He's starting to give me some Dom Mysterio, kind of ill will. He's kind of like a prick now, and it's I almost like it. It's kind of fun.
Much better as a heel than he is at trying to be a baby face. His character is definitely more enjoyable. I wonder if that's more that it's so much better than his baby face character that you're like, oh, maybe this is good, or if it's actually good. But I got to agree with you, Timmy. It's a little bit better. It's better than the baby face, and we'll see where that goes. Santos Escobar.
Santos Escobar. He is, so that side of the bracket, I don't see him getting past Lashley, because again, you want to kind of make Lashley's little faction kind of relevant too as well. So I don't know, I can't see him losing. Like, again, like, they have all these guys, these dominant guys, and they continue to lose, and I don't get it. Like, the only faction that look, Dom lost his belt. Like, Judgment Day has been okay, but like, they continue to do the same shit with we're let them know that we run Raw. Like, I'm so tired of it, dude. Like,
Right.
shut up. And I can't wait for him to leave that fucking faction or get beat up and tossed out.
So
Like,
let's get into that then, Timmy. Let's segue right into that. The Damien Priest moving on. This past week, he gets into a little argument with Mommy. Mommy quick turns it as not an argument and that we need to stand together as a family and show them that we still run the place, like you're saying. Priest comes out. They cut the promo on R-Truth. And it's just that divide is further growing and leading to what we've been talking about for weeks about Priest getting kicked out of the Judgment Day. I will say one thing on that whole thing. I think they made a mistake with cutting this R-Truth stuff as soon as they did. I think they had a couple weeks of R-Truth coming out with the Judgment Day, being entertaining. Their dynamic back and forth is funny. I enjoyed it. R-Truth is very lovable. And if you turn on him in a couple weeks when people are invested in it, it makes it much worse than just right now, like right away, turning on him. If Damian Priest would have said, R-Truth, you're with us, you're our guy, and all the Judgment Days like, what? Like R-Truth, and then you have a couple weeks of him being funny and doing the things, and they're loud. That's just truth, maybe he helps them get a win or whatever and becomes this lovable lackey, almost like Sami Zayn with the Bloodline last year. And you do that, and then you turn on him, and then it's like, man, F this guy, Damian Priest. And it would help Damian Priest because he struggles on the mic. Let R-Truth talk it up.
Yeah. I was really enjoying the R-Truth segments. They were funny. Priest is just like, he is on my shit list, dude. He's been on my shit list. You know how I feel about him. It's just the one thing about a dominant faction is if you look at all these factions in the past, okay, all the most dominant ones, you look at NWO, you look at DX, the Four Horsemen, like all these different factions that have so much success in the history of wrestling. I don't think any of them came out every week and said, we run Raw or we run the WWE. And it just so like they just let their actions speak for themselves. Like, when was the last time you saw the Judgment Day beat the shit out of somebody besides R-Truth on Monday night? Like, factions used to do that all the time. Like, they would take out guys left and right, and the Judgment Day they just go about their business and do nothing except for lose non-title matches, and they hold the belts and all that stuff. I mean, obviously the most impressive one, but Damien Priest has had the Money in the Bank for forever and hasn't done shit with it. It's just I'm kind of over
they just
it,
come
really.
off like fake tough guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just annoying. Like you're mentioning with those factions, and not only did they used to beat people up, they used to do stuff that was like that, like bastard, like wow, like why? Like I remember when the NWO spray painted Ric Flair's kid NWO on a thing in front of him, and it's like, man, that's freaking, you know what I mean? It really brings out that emotion of like, get these guys, and you want to beat them down because they're doing these things that are just so vile and so like, wrong. Maybe that's part of the culture that we're in now, that you're not allowed to do stuff like that. But I would like to see a bit of a more aggressive Judgment Day and have them, not just be like, Dom's done a good job of being a heel, but he's not believable as someone that could beat someone up. When they show up, it's like, oh man, here it's about to go down. They just show up and it's, oh, here we go again. All rise for the Judgment Day. Mommy's the only believable one.
Yeah. Well,
So
it would change if Drew was in there, but
well, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Drew goes in, and and that would be a friggin' faction right there, and he can definitely lay some people out. So let's get into the final thing real quick, and I just want to touch on it before we sign off, Timmy. Whoa! That would be the Creed brothers. Creed brothers yet again out in a couple segments this week. It seems like they're really pushing them, Timmy. What do you think about this and the Creed brothers possibly getting that big push?
Yeah, we talked about the tag team division, trying to get it stronger, and they're certainly part of that whole process. And if they want to be considered a true contender for those titles, I mean, they have to be constantly on television, and they have to deliver every time they're out. And to showcase them, I think is the right move. And getting eyes on them and seeing the talent that they actually do have. I mean, Julius Creed is a freak. We talked about him before. And they work well together. So it's good to have young talent, tag team talent to be able to showcase on Raw.
Yeah, that's exciting because you see how talented they've been in the ring, and you're like, here comes a push for these guys that seem to deserve it. I'm excited to see where they're going to go. Hopefully, maybe they are the ones that take the titles off of Judgment Day and can move forward in this new tag team division. Hopefully, where more tag teams come in and really bring back that division that is really the only non-relevant titles in the men's divisions right now.
Tom, and you know what, showcasing talent is what we like to do here on Jabroni Drive. And yeah, there seems to be a little bit more talent being recruited by none other than the HJB.
Well,
do we possibly have a second HJB in the fold, Tom?
nah. Not on my watch. There'd be another HJB before that HJB that you're referring to. We don't just throw around honorary jabronis on Jabroni Drive. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me cut the music. We don't just throw down honorary jabronis on Jabroni Drive. There's only one HJB. Will there be another jabroni added to the fold? There's been a couple on some different text lines, you know, the one that starts with a Z, one that starts with a J. Maybe we'll see. You know what? Something for the listeners to hold on to and listen to. We'll see how that all unfolds. Maybe bigger drama.
I feel like the HJB is trying to start his own little faction.
Oh boy. Whoa. Timmy, what are we seeing a turn from the HJB? Is he trying to start his own? Oh man.
Stay tuned.
Who knows? Stay tuned. And stay tuned for new episodes from Jabroni Drive every week. If you're not already doing it, please give us that like, share, follow, subscribe. Timmy, what do you got to say to all the listeners out there before we sign off?
Salute the troops. Awesome weekend of wrestling and everything else. And we'll catch you next time. Drive.
That's right. We love you. Till next week.